Okay, it's Monday, April 13th here in the nation's capital, Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm spending a lot of time indoors due to the COVID crisis. So I thought I would film a little project I've been working on for a long time. And like Diogenes in his search for the honest man, I've been looking for the definitive Gettysburg game that meets several criteria that I want in a Gettysburg game. And we'll do a brief survey of those games, and I'll tell you what I've come up with. Now, as I look on Board Game Geek, I see listed, published since 1958, about 82 games on the Battle of Gettysburg. And of those 82, I've played and owned maybe 20 or so of them. And all of them I've liked for one reason or another, and disliked many aspects of them for other reasons. But what I'm looking for are mainly 4 criteria in a Gettysburg game, and we'll go over these. 1, I want a game that covers the whole Battle of Gettysburg, not just Devil's Den or Little Round Top or just the first day. I want a game that covers all 3 days of the battle. Number 2, I'd like a game that can be played in about 5 hours or less. One good session. Number 3, I want an accurate order of battle and, more importantly, an accurate order of appearance. And the 4th criteria, I want the game to have a decent respect for history. So, just looking over the years, we're not going to go through 82 games. These are the ones that, struck my fancy for one reason or another. Now, the first one was this, the 1964 edition of Gettysburg by Avalon Hill. Actually came out in 1978. Later on, we'll go back in time here. This one was the 1977 version of Gettysburg by Avalon Hill. Later on, the gamers did a brigade level game on the Battle of Gettysburg. It was quite fine, quite detailed though. And another one that was a favorite of mine was Gettysburg, Lee's Greatest Gamble. Now, Gettysburg, Lee's Greatest Gamble, and this one here, the intermediate level game of Gettysburg, were the 2 games that came closest to meeting the criteria that I wanted in a Gettysburg game. This one was also very good, Gettysburg, High Tide of the Confederacy. I love that box art on the cover, showing the Chambersburg Pike and the town of Gettysburg in the background. This was, well, quite frankly, a terrible game, Cemetery Hill. Though I love the quad series, Cemetery Hill was one of the poorest titles in the whole series. Then, of course, came Terrible Swift Sword, which gave us a regimental battery level game. Very large, humongous game at the time, and many considered to be kind of the definitive game. Later on, GMT produced this Gettysburg 3 Days in July, another big, gigantic game. Take a weekend to play that. And more recently, Eric Lee Smith's Battle Hymn came very close to what I wanted in a Gettysburg game, but again was not the one. And even more recently, Devils to Pay, the first day at Gettysburg, which is a very fine game with a great Rick Barber map, half-decent order of battle, but again, it was just a section of the battle, which does not meet the criteria that I wanted. Now, of those 82 Gettysburg games, like I said, I haven't played them all, but I've owned and played about 20 of them. I've owned quite a few Gettysburg games over the years, and still have quite a few. But rather than design my own game from the ground up, because I have tried these definitive ones like Last Chance for Victory, which is regimental battery, it would take you weeks to play this thing out. It didn't meet my criteria, what I wanted. The 2 games that came closest to what I want were Gettysburg, Lee's Greatest Gamble, or the intermediate level game of Gettysburg. So, I had the decision to, well, start my Gettysburg game from the ground up, which to me was kind of counterproductive. I didn't feel like spending the energy to design a game from square one. So this left me with 2 games to choose from to perhaps modify, because they came closest to what I wanted. Lee's Greatest Gamble was a magazine game. And it's too bad because it was a fine game, and it really should have been released as a boxed edition. If it came out again as a boxed edition, heck, I might even rebuy it. But this left me really with only one choice, and that was to take the intermediate level game of Gettysburg 77 and modify it. And that's exactly what I did. And this is what I'm going to show you in the video. If this video goes too long, I might have to break it up into 2 parts. But basically what I've done is taken the intermediate rules of Gettysburg 77 and tweaked them and modified them. That's the original rules. They were like about 8 pages long. It was not a complex game. But it was brigade level, and it could be played in about 5 hours or less. So what I've done is taken these basic rules, tweaked them, modified them a little bit, added long-range artillery, made brand new counters, and modified and tweaked the order of appearance for the Union and Confederate, making it a little bit more historical. And of course, then utilizing Rick Barber's beautiful maps on the Battle of Gettysburg, which are similar, I believe, to his Summer Storm maps. It might be the exact same scale. Rick told me the scale. I thought it was about 200 yards or 220 yards to the hex. I'm not sure. But anyway, with Rick Barber's 2 maps, this is actually 2 maps here, I put a plastic down to keep them together. So now I have a large surface area to play a brigade level game on the Battle of Gettysburg. So what I'm going to do is not explain all the rules, what I've tweaked and done. What I'm going to do is do a playthrough each turn to show you how the game works. I've been tweaking it here for the last few days, and I'm very pleased with the game, the way it works. So this is my little personal project. This is a game that is not going to be available for purchase, of course. They are Rick's maps. The system is not my own. It's really intermediate level Gettysburg modified. So this is my own little personal pet project on Gettysburg to give me the definitive game of Gettysburg that I want to play. So what I'll do is I'll follow the action. We'll do a little bit of video after I've moved the Confederates and after I've moved the Union for each turn. And we'll just see how long this goes. Maybe I'll have to divide this video up into 2 parts, maybe 3. Maybe I'll get tired and just chuck the whole project. Don't know. Anyway, let's give it a try.